Well, music in its most basic form to me is art and expression. Um, I'm an artist. I love art. I see art. I exist art. That is my viewpoint of it. Um, I exist in it from the space of God, who is the divine and eternal artist. He made everything you see, including human beings, which are a very high form of art, right? And I think every time I see art or I meet people that can create things, it makes me feel like I'm closer to God, because I'm meeting people who are imbued and blessed with His most special gift, creation. Last year, which was my biggest year in terms of performances, because I was all over the place. It kind of, when we were raining towards the end of the year and a bunch of performances were coming again, it kind of dawned on me and a bunch of my artist friends that, in a large sense, a lot of people were taking advantage of us. Now, I haven't had it as hard as a lot of people, to be honest, because I knew Tony, and since I started, I've known a bunch of people who are kind of ingrained into the Abuja scene, right? And a lot of people that have been putting together shows or are part of putting together shows are friends of mine. So it was kind of easy for me to get my foot in the door, even though I wasn't getting paid. I would say that it wasn't by any effort of mine, but by just God's own blessing, that a lot of people found my sound interesting enough to put me on their stages. But a lot of the stuff I've heard, and even from my own personal experience, because let's be honest, when someone values you, they will treat you based off of the value that they value off of, right? And even though I got my foot in the door, it was still hard, it was never a guaranteed thing that I would get on those stages and perform. Sometimes it was like a thing where I had to basically force my way or find interesting ways to make sure that I got on stage that night. And other times it was like my image was used for, like Johnny Drill. We had posters. We were told we were going to perform, Tochi and I and Brumet. And then we showed up to the thing. We were there for a sound check, and comes time to get the passes for performers, and they tell us we're not on the set list. Yeah, and I'm like, wow, that's crazy. So we ended up having to stay there that night and watch other people go on, not perform. That was really wild and weird. But SOA was part of the team. TCM was part of the team of people putting together the performance. So it's basically like we were there to support our friends regardless of whatever happened. And there were just other little scattered experiences around where it was like very iffy, with getting performances, and then people would tell you, oh, you just have to do it for free, because you're getting exposure, which, okay, I'm gonna sit up and be very toward about this. Exposure doesn't pay anybody's bills. Exposure can get me a job to pay my bills. But if you say I'm getting exposure from your show, it's what level of exposure? 1. 2, in what sense is that exposure going to work for me? Right? So I guess for the most part, it's my job to decide whether or not I want to get on your stage based off of exposure and what it's going to do for me. But I've met some interesting people through performances, so I definitely appreciate the experience and the opportunity. What I do not appreciate is people feeling like they're doing me favors, because at the end of the day, you need someone to be on your stage and fill your performance slot before your main act comes on, and someone to entertain your audience. And by me, I will say that I give my all when I'm on your stage. So I would appreciate the courtesy of, having my value appreciated by you. See, you don't have to pay me money, but you will have to pay me decency. You will have to pay me respect, because I am a human being. And you will have to pay anyone whose time you have taken, who has spent their money to leave their house and spent their energy rehearsing and getting on your stage and entertaining your people with respect, because we deserve at least that. Now, on the front of exposure isn't a feasible thing in Abuja. It's a feasible thing in Lagos. Lagos is a big city and a commercial city where people go out all the time and are always looking for shows to attend. You can gain a huge crowd following off of one performance in Lagos, as long as you do what you need to do on that stage. You can get sponsors from the VIP section off of one performance. People will see you and be like, who are you? Why aren't you out there? What can we do to help you get out there? See, Abuja is such a quiet city, and it's a city where, for lack of a better word, everyone just forms. Like, everyone wants to feel, fly, cool, better than the next person, and in many ways, the crowd is less vocal about their interest in your music or whatever it is you're doing. I've performed at shows where 5,000 people were in the audience, and it's like okay, off of the 5,000, how many followers did I gain on Instagram? What numbers did my music do the next day? That's how you track the exposure you're gaining. It's like, off of this one performance, how many followers did I gain on Instagram? What numbers did my music do? Who messaged me on my DMs to say, oh my God, I heard your music, I love your music, I want to work with you. Like, what artists notice me? That's the whole reason why we will step out to do performances and say we're going to get exposure. But if you're not getting that back feasibly, it becomes a poor investment, because we do spend money to, first of all, transport ourselves out to these sound check and performances. And no one made me do music, I chose it, right? But it's an investment for me. And as a business, if I'm spending money and expecting to gain something back and I'm not, then I should be making money back, right? That's the most base argument I will give you, based off of fact. So it's a thing where, if you're promising me exposure, what is your event, your team, your project doing to make sure that I get exposure? Are you putting up my posters on your page? Are you promoting that particular post? Are you giving me a good enough performance slot? Are you making sure that I will get onto your stage at the end of the night? Are you actively getting people to move? Actively getting people to be participants of the performance? Are you giving me everything I need in terms of sound and lighting to make sure that my performance is top notch, right? Then what are you doing after your show? do you post my pictures again on your page off of my performance, short clips about my about my performance, stuff like that? Like, if you're gonna promise me exposure as payment for my time and my talent, be active about it. Because this is not a city where just being on your stage is going to give me exposure. It's not reality. That's a fantasy. It's a fallacy. It's trash. You can't tell me that. I don't want to feel or sound bigger than my britches, but the reality is that I take this seriously. I give a lot of time and effort in the studio, on stage, from my pocket. My bank account weeps. So yeah, it does. So if my bank account is going to be weeping, you need to show me that my efforts are not wasted by being on your stage. Because I could be doing anything else other than being on your stage. I don't even like going for events, like just going out to events because I'm standing, my shoes are getting dirty. You know, I'm spending money that I could save by just being at home. Let's say I'm not performing, right? I wouldn't come out because that's not who I am. But I love to perform. You've given me an opportunity to express myself, and I want to make use of it. Let it not be a waste. That's all that we are asking for. And see, when we decided to put the ASAA thing together, and we slashed our posters and we put out statements and everything, people came for us on Twitter. I will never forget. And I saw some of the most nasty comments, and a bunch of people that I had so much respect for just like flushed it down the toilet with the kinds of things they were saying, you know. And it's like, you are a person in my industry. You know how hard it is to do what we do. And you are going out of your way to shut down a conversation that needs to be had for us to work well together. Because if you say you are here for the growth of me as an artist, and you're trying to push me so that one day when I'm out there and I'm doing the numbers and I've blown up, you can say you were a part of my growth. Be a part of my growth, for real. Not by mouth. That's trash. So, you know, it's a real thing. We're not trying to come for anybody. I put out that statement on my Instagram and the same statement on my Twitter, and I basically told people that we are not here trying to attack anyone. We're not picking a fight. We're not here for you. We're here for every single artist, sonic artists particularly, that is spoken word, poets, producers, rappers, singers, instrumentalists. If it produces a sound, we are here for you. And we are here to fight for you to get what it is you deserve at the end of the day. We're not asking for money, particularly because no one starts out being paid. But to be honest, it wouldn't hurt. But we are asking for respect, accountability, good treatment, and real exposure. That's all.